A third map of Cafe. First map is coming out. CYCLOPS are taking in, I was gonna say Intero off the board because they Retero drones. They're taking Flores off the board, who has those Retero drones. And then followed up by that, we got Hibana as well. That is one Heartbreach of many. It's not gonna impact things too much. You got the Ace, you got the Thermite, you got the Maverick, unless of course you see a double Heartbreach ban, but that's not this case this time around. Valkyrie follows along, same story as Chile. We don't want to have the information on the board. We don't want to have to play IQ. It's so boring. We don't like it. And also, we want more grenades, more projectiles. So, by banning out the Valkyrie, that's what you can get. The last operator will be the Mira, so nothing out of the ordinary. Flores, very strong operator here in Villa. It is expected to be banned. It's no surprise. There's so many shields in play, so much self-destruction, and that's where he thrives.
All right, well, these bans, a stark contrast to our very first map. You go back and it was a Twitch Capital ban on Chalet. Two operators that you don't often see be given that spotlight. Things a lot more normal with Flores and Hibana being banned out. Hibana in particular is oftentimes one of the most, if not the most, banned hard breacher. Flores is definitely up there as well. Valkyrie, a very common ban that we see on virtually every map. It's going to force teams to play differently without her on Villa, but I only say that because there are a couple times that we've seen a Valkyrie sneak through. Other than that, yeah, she tends to get banned. No, Mira is standard stuff. This is an operator that is banned almost every single time. What I do find intriguing is that, again, we will see Thatcher be available. Thatcher, despite being unbanned in that first map, really did not play a big role for either of the teams. So how big of a role will he be on this one? FaZe Clan on this first round are not bringing him again. So teams clearly don't want to have to deal with him. Instead, teams have been skewing more towards Maverick, because if you don't have the EMPs, but you bring a Maverick and then a Sledge or a Buck or a Zofia or even a Flores, who's banned, I'd like to remind you, you can open up that soft wall. And the big thing is Maverick brings nades. And nades right now, they're so hot. So hot. So hot right now.
Not the word I would have used. I would have said important or vital or crucial, but so hot also does the job justice, to be honest. And that's the thing, when you are on Villa, is that it can be quite tricky to get through those walls, so having Thatcher open at your disposal, if you would like to use him, can be quite beneficial. And of course, if you don't want to use him, you don't have to. That's a choice, freedom. That's the thing that we like, because that means you can play dynamically. Maybe half the rounds you play with the Thatcher, the other half you play without him. And the funny thing is, often we see Thatcher being banned, and then when he's not, he also doesn't really get played all that much. And that just goes to show, do teams just not like Thatcher existing in Rainbow Six Siege? Or is it more of like a, we've gotten so used to Thatcher not being available to us that we don't even need to play him when he's finally open? I would say though, not having to ban the Thatcher means that we get more creative bans on the attack inside, because it allows for more freedom. And that's honestly nice for a change. I'm all for seeing new operators and different operators. It's the same reason why I get super excited every single season when the newest operator or second newest operator gets introduced into the pro scene, as we do have that gracing period of 3 months.
And speaking of the newest operator, the one that's been allowed in play is Osa. We saw her get used in a very crucial and even game-winning round for CYCLOPS previously. Thorn will become available in the season that follows the Six Invitational, but our favorite Irish defender is not available. Also, Rainbow Six teased what I'm assuming is a new season on Twitter today, and there will obviously be a new operator that comes with it. First kill goes to Bullet, by the way. FaZe Clan walk right in. They've taken out Gatorada, and that's the smoke down. That is a pretty bad operator to lose with over a minute to go.
Yeah, that's not good, and there wasn't really much support for him either, so when he was taken down, again, no trade inside, this will be an actual impactful opening kill, because you do play it out in that 5 versus 4 in a true fashion, not a 4v4 traded back. Anderton looking to get aggressive, but that might cost ya, because there's multiple enemies, enemies from FaZe up on that top main stairs. But that's pretty much all you got going for you if you're a FaZe. You do have Cameraman now on 90 window, gets a gunfight, but doesn't want to swing just yet, because when you're on that rappel, you are quite limited.
gets an adrenal surge to go off as well. Suzu still over by 90. An upside down repel will be his undoing. This is going to have to be a tough shot on his end, but he doesn't see that he gets shot away in the ankles. If you don't have any feet, you can't really play the game. Sorry, Suzu, you're as good as gone. FaZe Clan asserting their dominance, and they'll lose their first player and cameraman to Black Ray, who's now assumed that position over by 90. Still staying there and has the attention of another member of FaZe, but with 15 seconds left, they got to get into the bomb site. Bullet finishing off A Gator, and there goes Anderson and Black Ray as well. FaZe Clan, in the snap of their fingers, clear out the 3 final players from CYCLOPS, and the first round is FaZe's.
Not just that, but they're also keeping up the aggression from Chalet. We spoke about how fast they are, proactive, getting the aggressive openings, and they did the exact same thing on the first round, and they got rewarded massively. They got good map control, top main stairs, office, 90 repel from cameraman, and it was the first person to fall from CAG was the smoke. That is arguably the highest value operator that you can kill early on in the round, because typically if the smoke is alive with toxic babes in his pocket at the end of the round, you have to either go really fast or you have to wait to those last 10-15 seconds to be able to execute, because those toxic babes, they stall you out for so long. AVG, we did not find success. We're going to kitchen instead, and that is a kind of atypical approach to bomb site rotations. I would say like 80% of the time we see the first two bomb sites being top floor, AVG, and then trophy. Now we're seeing dining second. Also exactly why Enerton 6 picked the polls. That's like a pretty much a guarantee if you're on this bomb site. There will always be a polls. You need the information, you need the verticality, and you need to know if anybody's sneaking into site from those basement stairs.
I really like the creativity that we see with some Electroclaws. If you go back to Chalet, there's an Electroclaw that you can put upstairs if you shoot away at the dining room table, and it'll get both of the panels down below onto that trench wall in Wine. There we just saw a cabinet getting shot out, an Electroclaw thrown in on a separate room, but still working on the pantry reinforcement. So good stuff, honestly. The creativity that comes in is quite high. The difference is that as good as that Electroclaw is, you've got both a Maverick and a potential Thatcher on the board as well. So the Electroclaw, while good, can be easily dealt with because of the tools that these teams have. Also, a creative Electroclaw, if you bring an IQ, all the creativity in the world isn't going to help you conceal yourself from her gadget. But because IQ is often seen as a niche pick on a lot of these sites, she does not bring any destructive capabilities. It means that a Kaid can gain a lot of value from that, especially if a team like FaZe Clan is not running that Thatcher.
CAG really playing conservative on Villa compared to that of Chalet. They only have one person really roaming, that's Black Ray inside of Library, and even he now is in the basement. Will have to go up the red stairs or back to side via pantry. On Chalet, we saw players from CAG kind of spread thin. They were playing kitchen dining, they were playing upstairs, usually halfway across the map. And on Villa, very different story. Half of them are inside, one person up above now, and one person was inside of Library earlier in the round before it dropped down to the basement. That just means that FaZe Clan will have an easier time to progress through the map, and they will lose less drones. They still have 7 left. That's quite alright. That means the flanks will be covered, and so will the droning for the bomb side. So now, start figuring out what approach do you want, FaZe. You have verticality available, or so you thought, because Suzu, he's stuck around.
And what a punishing play by Suzu. Cyber walks in completely blind and he face checks the wrong room. Just like that, the advantage goes to CAG. There's no follow-up either. I wonder where the pulse is playing of Anaton, and I wonder where the intel is going to come from. Ah, the common spot for a pulse. Down below, sampling some of the finest wines, but also on that cardiac sensor, waiting for someone to wander into range with a heartbeat intact. Another kill comes in now with Anaton, but Astro's in the middle of the bomb site. Soul's taking an awful lot of damage. Anaton fires back. Soul's down below, as now Cameraman is gone, and Astro, if one kill, denying a flawless, but still, this is dire straits.
It is, and it almost seemed like FaZe kind of gave up. They just said, let's just walk into side, but Diffuser was in the basement, found by Anaton. That means you cannot plant the Diffuser, you cannot win the round, and ultimately CAG, they won every single gunfight as well, so there really wasn't any hope from FaZe there. I like the aggressive play, I like that they tried something different, but I also do think that they thought, you know what, this round, bit of a flop, it's alright, we can go next. Absolutely, and that honestly really started with Cyber from above. You have
have the top floor control, or so you think. A sledge established inside of that part of the map, either in Master, where there's a hatch that allows you to drop down into laundry, or over by Statuary, where you can tear up that floor, same as most maps, and flush the defenders out of common spots, while also being able to cover in a post plant and drop nades down to act as zoning work. It is really hard if you do not play at a top level to explain to you how powerful a position that is. Think about it, right there. You make defenders have to move, oftentimes into areas where other attackers can be waiting for you. Easy kills for those attackers. If a plant goes down and you haven't moved any defenders out of the way, you can also now stay above and be in a much safer spot to watch as the diffuser gets planted and then in the post plant. And then third, you can zone with those nades. All one operator, one spot. And when you lose your life, because you don't drone it out, not only do you fail to gain control of one of the most critical parts of the map, but you've also lost an operator that is imperative for when the execute happens. After that, FaZe tried to pivot very quickly. They decided to go for a rush into the bomb site, and CYCLOPS, simply by the way that the bomb site works and the way they were set up, were prepared for it because nothing else FaZe had done would help them or conceal them when the push came in.
Certainly. And Cyber on Chalet, similar issue. He was the first player to follow at the very least. Every time FaZe Clan got the ground they wanted, the sledge wasn't alive to do any of the vertical play. That was Cyber now on Chalet, now on Villa, suffering that same fate. If you are FaZe Clan, you're gonna take as much map as possible, but definitely the floor above the bomb site. But if Cyber is dead, that really won't matter. So you gotta start wondering, maybe it's time to take you off the entry. We are now unliving, by the way, so the crazy daisiness of the bomb site rotation continues for CAG because this is extremely abnormal.
No trophy statuary defense in the first 3 bomb site rotation for CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming. You pointed it out, living room library being this bomb site. Run by a couple teams in a variety of different regions, seen an awful lot in North America, but as a bomb site, still really hasn't passed the smell test. And Suzu is the first casualty. Again, CYCLOPS have lost their smoke. Now they also lose their pulse. 2 incredibly strong operators for denial and for information unavailable to CYCLOPS, and immediately FaZe Clan know what they have and know how they can take control of the bomb site and not face that same level of denial because the smoke is gone.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit afraid that FaZe was gonna run it into side of those 2 opening picks. They've been playing so aggressive so far, but maybe that last round kind of taught them a lesson that once you have the advantage, you gotta stick your ground and stick your guns up. But Iagator, he finds Bullet now for free.
And Bullet was in the site, by the way.
Yeah,
so
alone.
Iagator pops out, gets the kill, immediately goes right back in. As you pointed out, there are trap operators in play. You don't want to just rush on in, but at the same time, at what point does FaZe pull off this execute? Now Iagator is down for the count. 2 players left for CAG, that's it, and it gets even worse now the mute is gone. A Warden to try and stop this, and he might look the wrong way. He finds one, swats away cameraman, but 2 players from FaZe in the same vicinity means that they strike back quite easily, and FaZe regain the lead.
And I was saying that how FaZe, they don't go prematurely, but Bullet goes in single-handedly, all alone with no help. He gets taken out, but, I mean, if you get the opening kills, and 2 of those indeed, you can sacrifice 1 soldier for the greater good of the round. Bullet, I'm not sure if you're gonna do that again, but I mean, at least he got some information. Trade back was not from Souls on that window, and Souls really being a great player in the series, just like it was in the previous, huge player for FaZe. And we spoke a little bit about the history of FaZe Clan earlier. Cameraman and Astro is an extremely long-lasting duo. They have been separated before for a brief moment where there was a change of teams, change of orgs, etc. But they are ultimately back together once again. And when that happened, every single fan of those 2 players went, we like that. My heart is now whole again, because seeing your 2 favorite players or a duo separated is never nice to see.
Man, I remember all the way back when they played on, what team was it? Was it Font Energy that they played on back in the day before they got picked up by FaZe Clan? And then at some point, the roster ended up departing. Cyber went over to MIBR after that dreadful run at SI, when that old roster that had Yuna, it had Mav on it, it basically imploded. And now Mav and Yuna are no longer playing in Tier 1. Astro and Camera are reunited yet again, and it's really nice to see. But the one thing that Cameraman touched upon in his interview before we got into the actual group stage was how flexible Astro can be. He used to play a very linear role. He used to almost exclusively play Twitch.
Yes.
He would almost exclusively play Ashe if Twitch wasn't available, and he would play the same style. And it was very one-dimensional, and if he got shut down, he provided very limited value to his team. That's not the case anymore. Astro's been playing secondary support a number of times. They might put a Zofia in his hands as well. That flexibility and the utility that he can bring to a team is very different from the Astro a couple years ago, and it's made him a much more well-rounded player.
Speaks to the growth of them as well. I mean, a lot of Siege pros, they were quite young back when they first began their career. I mean... Maybe next time. Yeah, most of us players were very young when we started, and now we've grown older. And as that happens, I mean, we're all say you start as an Ashe main, right? Then you become a flex player, and then eventually second support, and then primary support, and then what do you know? Maybe a coach or just straight to retirement. But either way, Astro, he's learned. So has Cameraman, and so has Cyber, because they're now onto side part.
Oh my God! And all of CYCLOPS are basically dead at this point. FaZe Clan just pummeling CAG, leaving Suzu and Gatorada. Now, Suzu was the one who went sight unseen inside a vault. Good for one kill, but the shotgun of Gatorada will not land after Suzu picks one and then gets dropped in the process. Again, FaZe Clan snap their fingers and then everybody falls.
Yep.
I like this ruthlessness that you talked about for FaZe to immediately assess where the weak point is and overrun the defenders.
It's really hard to really, I wouldn't say like commentate on, because like nothing's happening and boom, switch turned on. Now we're gonna rush the bomb site, get 3 opening kills, 2 versus 5, win the round, plant down, boom. That is the end of the round for FaZe. Beautifully done with the very decisive aggression that we see multiple times. And there was the, didn't even check the order. So fast. You'd think that is a 5-speed and not a 3-speed. And that's just how it is sometimes. Ashe had that similar talk about her being faster than other operators. Tactical timeout from CAG makes good sense. You're down 1 and 3. You want to talk about how to get back into this round. Remember, you do have 2 more rounds on the defense before that side swap, but then it really is do or die, and you want to get as good and as clean of a swap as possible. Get that 4-2 or 3-3 ideally.
Well, this is the first timeout that we've seen from this team so far. The timeout that was burned in the very first map back at the end of round number 9 was by FaZe Clan. So both teams now getting a time set aside to just settle themselves down. For those of you that don't know how the timeout system works, both teams get 1 timeout per map, not per side, per map. So this is it for CAG. The only other time they get to talk to their coach and each other is if FaZe takes a timeout. That's it, because then both teams will be able to spend that time talking amongst themselves. So while CAG gets to settle their nerves, potentially come up with a strategy that is working more effectively than what we've seen employed thus far, FaZe Clan also get to do the same.
I think if you're CAG, you kind of gotta run against the wall right now, because the wall is really closing in. The wall is FaZe Clan, and they're really, really quick. Play it more like you did on Chalet. Get out on the map, challenge FaZe on the entries, make their life difficult and miserable. Don't give them the ground they want, don't give them the 1 versus 1s that they want, don't give them the opportunity to drone out the bomb site and be like, oh, it's pretty easy. Walk on in, find 3 kills, and then the round is basically over. If anything, try to get those 1v1s off the bomb site. The ones that you won on Chalet, how you got the opening kills, and how you played off one another. Instead, CAG kind of been playing in corners. It's not working, it's not their playstyle. They're going back to Dining Kitchen, they got the post, they got the Capcan, now they just gotta make it work.
Well, they like the trap operators, and they like the ability to slow them down. I also think that CAG just simply likes the gun as well, because that thing can absolutely fry. It comes with a 1.5 times scope as well. And there are times where it's not necessarily what they add strategically.
Oh, no.
It's what they add in terms of fragging. And in this round, what Gatorada will add in terms of fragging is exactly nothing. 15 seconds in, he's dead. First pick goes to FaZe Clan real early.
That's gonna gonna suck. That's your tactical timeout used just before the round started, and I mean, that wasn't even an intentional kill. Trying to open up the barricade, shot you through that, plus the wall into triple, into statue, and well, you're just gone now. That's how the cookie crumbles. And now, CAG mostly on this side, they don't have much going for them. Sure, there is a player halfway across the map in that library area, but you're not gonna get a whole lot of value. Run out, it's a nice try, but it's desperate, and a lot of follow. Astro is on site. What is happening? I mean, the Tigers now have the bomb site, Suzu inside of Clock, Black Rays all the way over in library. It doesn't seem like a dynamic defense, but it is. Triple kill for Astro, and the last defender might just fall in just a moment as we got Bullet outside the building still. Hasn't even gone inside. He has 150 bullets to spare, but he won't need that many as Black Ray is low on health. You're gonna be running away, maybe do a second timeout here, talk to your team. Guys, what the F is going on? Why is it happening the way it is? We are better than this, and it should not be going this way. We just had a tactical timeout, and we're about to get flawless round against us.
I mean, I still consider this a flawless. Even if you didn't kill everybody, the fact that you end the round with your life intact, that's a flawless one. So you just extend the timeout. Instead of having a 30-second timeout, you have a 3-minute-ish timeout for CAG to try to regroup. Cameraman ends up finding Black Ray, and that's all she wrote. It's 4-1 for FaZe Clan. They are looking so dominant and so formidable. The CAG that we witnessed on Chalet has disappeared at this point. They are being beaten all over the map on entries through the mid-round, in the closing round. The only real good shout that we saw was on the same bomb site here in Dining before, and you know what, I gotta say, it was a relatively confident and controlled round for CAG. They got that early pick, they had intel down below, the pulse helped give information, and in the moment that you saw that blunder from FaZe Clan, which is what really set it off, CAG responded well. But even that round, I pin that more on FaZe Clan trying to pivot too hard, run into the bomb site after losing Cyber and failing, than I do give credit to the CAG team. So with that said, what could have been a 5-0 is a 4-1 in favor of FaZe Clan. They've won this first half here on Villa. This is their map. They look so strong on it. CAG are struggling to keep up because FaZe Clan are the same killing machine that we saw through much of their run at the Sweden Major.
Yep, and this is typically, I mean, when we talk Villa, we talk defense, we talk 3-3 side swap, 4-2 side swap, usually in favor of the defenders. And sure, the Thatcher's open, but it hasn't been played. FaZe Clan, they do not need it. All they need are their guns. That's how they've won the majority of these rounds. It's not the utility, it's not really the grenades, it's certainly not the verticality, because Cyber and the Sledge hasn't really done that good of a job this round. But honestly, the way FaZe Clan is playing, they don't need it. It's simply about the right aggression at the right time together, and that's how they managed to find so many openings back to back to back. You wouldn't think CAG would struggle with aggression because they are one of the more aggressive teams here, but I will say the way FaZe Clan has been playing has been extremely different from typical aggression. It's very much planned, but at the same time, oh so explosive. Another opening kill goes in favor of FaZe. That's Black Ray off the board, Alibi off the board again.
That's 4 in a row for FaZe and 5 of 6 for this first half. This is an impressive tally for FaZe Clan, and for a roster like FaZe Clan that they have, they've shown some weaknesses at this event, and I think it's fair to admit that, but they also did back at that Swedish Major. They were not a perfect team. They're a scrappy team. They can play a style that is unique to themselves and really do well based off of information they get when on attack. So far, Villa is absolutely their map, and having Black Ray be 2 and 6 is devastating for this team. Nobody from CAG through these 6 rounds have been proficient at finding kills.
Oh, they haven't, and that's kind of what they need. And once again, Astro, he shows what's up. He's gotten so many kills to his name so far, but they want more. Suzu actually finds a kill, but it's instantly traded out by Cameraman. The efficiency from FaZe is unchallenged.
FaZe is playing so well around each other right now, and this is on a whole other level to what we saw back on Chalet. So while Bullet might not be available, the rest of FaZe is, and Adrenal Surge will steady their aim for a moment, give them a little bit of top up in terms of HP, which Cameraman so desperately desperately needed. He's down below, sitting on 6 and 3, getting droned in through Art Studio. Will now head towards the stairs. Souls is the diffuser up there. They'll link arms with each other. Anaton around the model gets picked apart by Souls as its swinger be swung, and now it's Gatorada's turn in the line of fire. He manages to drag down Astro in the midst of the smoke, pushing up for a second. He's got marks, but the moment he gets back into the bomb site, Cyber says, we'll take that first half. 5-1 is the scoreline in favor of FaZe, and they are very quickly putting this map away to equalize and send us to Cafe.
I think CAG are very happy that was the last defending round, because I don't know how much longer they could take a beating for, to be honest with you. It's not really looking good, and it's definitely going to mess with your mental. It's never nice to just get absolutely floored by your opponent, and FaZe in almost every single aspect right now just playing a very clean game of Rainbow Six Siege. I want to remind you guys that FaZe, they have showed Villa before, meaning CAG has some studying that they would have had to do in preparation for this match. They played Villa in one of their first games against Rogue. It was a 7-3 in favor of FaZe. They won that one. Then they played SSG. It was a 7-8. So SSG managed to win. That was an incredibly close game that came down to multiple clutch moments from SSG to end out the map with the victory. But that means if you can go that far against SSG and Villa, I mean, yeah, 5-1 against CYCLOPS seems quite common in that case. But if CAG can have as good attacks as we just saw from FaZe, that means this match or this series will tie up really nicely and get much more closer together in a couple of rounds. Unless, of course, FaZe can just end it out right here, and then we go third map. CAG, you have a massive task in front of you. The operators you brought are Ace, Finger, Lion, Ayana, and the Buck. This is quite flexible and also a bit different from that of FaZe. Now, no sledge, but you got the Buck. That means you can go below and do vertical play up to the floor instead of having to go above and do it the other way around like you typically would.
CAG run the DMR on the Lion, and I mean, I gotta ask why we see things like this. I had a suspicion that when they ran a Twitch and the Lion yesterday, that they both ran this 417 because they wanted to mask the Lion. They six-picked the Lion, run the DMR, you hear the DMR, you don't immediately think of a Lion. The V308, Lion's usual AR, is very distinct. The moment you hear it, you know there's a Lion. If you want to conceal it, you gotta run a weapon that sounds like another. And just like this, 45 seconds into action, 50 seconds into action, it's a quick take from CYCLOPS downstairs with two players from FaZe sitting on that same staircase, but they're not being challenged at the moment. CAG, after hitting one of those adrenal surges and an EE1D, they back off. And they've now realized that maybe rushing into the bomb site, taking up quick control of the areas outside of it, is not the way to go.
You know, whenever you pick the Lion, you can actually see his scanner in the air. So there are certain spots on every single map that will allow you to check if the enemy has a Lion right when the round begins. That's something teams learned back when Lion was meta, when he first got released, when he was quite strong. And well, I don't really think teams do it nowadays, but just a fun fact. You can check, you don't need to hear the gun sound, but I do agree with your point. It can be quite nice to mask it with that DMR. I didn't even think about it until you said it. Susu on 90 Repel has a Claymore for that cover. That means that if anybody jumps out down below, they will trade at worst, and at best, Susu will just stay alive for free. A nice C4 lineup from Cameraman does not go out, but it was going to go above that reinforced wall onto 90 window, and this is Latam with their predefined angles and lineups that they love.
Nitro Cell is there. That'll be the diffuser as well. So if the Nitro Cell goes off successfully, diffuser goes down on that window, you need someone to rotate an awfully large distance to retrieve the case and then get into the bomb site. So you have to be very careful if you're CAG, but CAG can't be too careful because then they're playing too passive. Up Black Ray walks now, that lineup's still there. A Nitro Cell could get tossed on up, but instead they've peeled back from FaZe Clan. 90 control for CAG. They need to get that mute jammer on the other side of the vault wall to put a hole in the defense.
The Buck's nice.
And that's exactly what the Buck is going to try to do. It looks like FaZe have vacated the premises and will now just simply play off of whatever soft destruction there is. Anaton is first to die with 18 seconds to go. That's a pretty late first kill. Black Ray toiling, but he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Astro walks away from that engagement. Both quite wounded, but still, that should have been a win for CYCLOPS. Astro picks up kill number 2, traded out by Suzu as CAG equalizes, and they slowly start to lose numbers again, and it's match point for FaZe Clan. They are indomitable here on Villa.
To be completely honest, I think Astro's having fun right now. He was drop-shotting members of CAG, hip-firing his opponent, finding 3 kills in that round. Really been an outstanding performer from FaZe Clan here on Villa. Even though playing secondary support on attack was usually second guy or first guy into side in that fray, finding kill after kill after kill. And even now in the side swap, CYCLOPS, they're not really having fun. And even on that round, it was 20 seconds left. They didn't get to side. It was actually so much in FaZe Clan's favor, they started running in towards the attackers to get the kills quicker than that of waiting for them to arrive on the bomb side. It's not looking good, CYCLOPS. You guys are just being absolutely crazy now. Anakin with the 6 pick does just that. How they won on Chalet on that very final round, that is how they're going to try and figure out how to get the second one here on Villa. It's the OSA, but you need a lot more than just the operator itself to break apart the round. You need to get some kills on the board and get really active with your guns, because that's where FaZe are punishing you time and time again. 10-3 from Astro, need I remind you.
Yeah, Astro really putting on a clinic. Now, Cyber as well, when he died as the sledge in that fateful round, the only round that CYCLOPS has won so far, I'm pretty sure Astro or Cyber was 1-1 at that point. So since then, picking up 5 kills over the next 5 rounds is pretty good. I mean, that means you're at least trading yourself out. I know it's not a flashy number, and people will fixate on the 10s, the 9s, the 14s that we see. But if you're playing a role where you're not engaged in a lot of gunfights and you have jobs to be done that involve utility and droning, if you're trading yourself out every round, that's quite good, frankly.
No, it is. I mean, going 1 for 1 is a great stat. Being neutral, great stat. Being negative, not so much. And being positive is absolutely amazing. And again, we always say this, the stats themselves, point blank, don't have that much value. The context really matters. We saw earlier in the TSM Elevate game that Saber had 1 kill to his name, but then all of a sudden he clutched a 1 versus 3. Those 3 kills have so much more value than that of 5 of someone else, because the 3 kills equaled a sole round in itself. I mean, you can have 3 1 versus 1 clutches back to back. That is 3 kills, but also 3 rounds that goes into your team's pocket instead of your enemies. So impact really is an important thing, and for that we need context. But the only context we need is Cyber has a shotgun on the Ela, and once again, CAG cannot find a single opening kill since the 2nd round.
It's always amusing hearing that Ela shotgun. I don't know what it is, but the sound it makes. At least CAG have some firepower going for them. Even though this has been a woefully bad performance on Villa, at least they fire back. They take souls out of action. That's the smoke down again. I don't know what it is with smokes dying early on this map, but it's critically important that smokes stay alive. Now it's Cyber's turn to fall as Anaton is down for the count. That means no OSA shields available.
Absolutely true. I thought for a small second it was a dining bomb set because everyone is downstairs, but no, we're actually upstairs, guys. Cameraman's in the basement. We got some members of CAG on the 1st floor, and we got most of FaZe Clan on that 2nd floor. Now, minute left, but Blackray says, you know what? I think there's someone down here. Let me see if I can find him. Cameraman full on health, Blackray a little bit less than half. That means Favor goes one way, but Favor doesn't matter in this case, and in fact, it was Suzu with that AK-12 that found the kill instead.
FaZe are in a position that they haven't been in quite a while. They're actually trailing in terms of man count. And 40 seconds left, though, with Astro and Bullet on the board. You can't count them out whatsoever, especially given the fact that both Blackray and Suzu are 1 to 2 bullets away from death. In this case, closer to those 2 bullets. There's still some utility as well. The Gemini exists for Blackray if they want to drone in the final 25 seconds. There's still the lifeline from Gator that has ammunition in it. And the last Selma also just went off. So there are things working for CAG as they look to stay alive. They want to stave off Cafe as long as possible, if not outright win the map. But your first bet is get to overtime. Bullet engaging, and he loses this one. No, 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 this is not happening. I can't believe what I just witnessed. Astro hides in the corner, and they run right by him. It's messy, but it works. And FaZe Clan, in the most baffling way possible, secure the 7th round to send us to map 3.
If you're a CAG, you just forget